Copper went up 1% and gold dropped about 2/3 of the percent. All right, let's get in our guests' expert voices today and get their calls. T.S. Harrier is here with us, and I can also see Ruchit Jain there. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Harrier, let me start with you. What are your picks? What are you doing?
Well, today we have broadly 3 picks in the market today, and all 3 are buys. The first, of course, is Pidilite Industries, which is better known as a manufacturer of Fevicol. But then we are looking at Pidilite as a dual play. One, a play on specialty chemicals, where it's a fairly large player, and that's emerging as a very, very big export basket as far as India is concerned. We are also looking at Pidilite from the point of view of a retail FMCG product, I think, where we expect a huge demand push because of the rural spend, because of the OROP and the 7 CPC. I think all these are going to benefit Pidilite substantially. And the stock has corrected from about 740 levels to about 680. And we see a good buy at this price with a target of about 740, 750 in the next 1 quarter. We also like RBL Bank, which is Ratnakar Bank in the old days, with a target of about 330. It's quoting at about 290 right now. We look at RBL as a fairly, I would say, underpriced play in the private banking space, with the potential to probably become a next IndusInd Bank or a Yes Bank in another 2 to 3 years. We also like Arcom. I think with the settlement that is going to happen on the debt front, the Aircel merger, and also its focus on telecom infrastructure, we think Arcom is a good buy at about 46, with a short-term target of about 55 in 1 quarter.
All right. Ruchit, what are your picks?
Yeah, hi, good morning. In line with the short-term trend of the market, my first pick is a sell call in L&T, as the stock has given a breakdown after 1.5 months of consolidation. One can go short in L&T, keeping a stop loss above 1472 and expecting a target of 1345 in short term. Second pick would be again a sell call in Reliance Capital. The stock has recently formed a evening star pattern, which is a bearish pattern. On any minor pullbacks up to 552 would act as a severe resistance for the stock now. So at current levels or on bounce up to 552, 553, one can look to go short in Reliance Capital. Keep a small stop loss above 563 and targets are expected around 511. And my last call is a buy call in one of the mid-cap stocks, which is Mirza International. Well, the stock is consolidating near its long-term support zone, and the volume activity in last few trading sessions indicating a good accumulation going on into the stock. One can buy with stop loss below 88, expecting a target of 113 rupees in next 2 to 3 months. So it's a bit of positional call, Mirza International. One can buy from 2 to 3 months perspective.
All right. Let's just pull up the Nifty. It's just closed in the pre-open has just shut. It'll open officially at in about 6 minutes or so. And surprisingly, we're seeing a significant up move. 86.66 on the Nifty. That's about 2/3 of a percent up, at the Sensex 0.5% up, and on pre-open bids. So at one point it did go up to our second resistance of the day, about 86.80. So very strong, at least the movement that we see, probably being driven by the auto pack at this moment and private banks. All right, what are the other stocks in news, Pankaj, if you could take us through them?
Well, Anand, if you just look at some of the other names, pharma as a whole would be in focus. Lupin is one name which would be in focus. There is a drug which they have, which contributes about 15 to 20% of their sales. It's generic Fortamet, and Mylan, which had got approval a month back, has launched this into the US market. Why is this important? Is because it contributes 15 to 20% of their sales. It's much higher contribution at an EBITDA level because they are one of the only few players who sell this, so the margins and the pricing is very, very high. CCL Products is up about 34% in the last 6 months. They have a board meet today. There they would be declaring their numbers of the Q2 results for the September one. In terms of expectation, flat versus QOQ, so last quarter, that's Q1. They did about 40 crores. This time it's expected to do around 40.2. The EBITDA number is expected at about 67 odd crores. Decently strong set of numbers expected from this company. Kotak Bank on Friday post-market hours made a small acquisition, 139 crores. It's a MFI business that they have acquired. As of now, it's just about 0.3, 0.4% of their entire loan book. So it's not quite meaningful, but definitely something that one would take a note of. Vedanta has seen a change as far as their CFO is concerned. So their CFO had quit, but the deputy CFO, Mr. Arun Kumar, has now been appointed as the new CFO. So there is a change as far as the entire management is concerned. IRB Infra, the order momentum tends to continue. They have won another 6-lane project from NHAI. 2,400 crore is the size of the order in the pre-open session. IRB is indicating a 1% sort of a decline start. Just also wanted to mention Jubilant Life. Just right now we are getting a news flow that they have got an approval for RubyFill, which is one of the limited competition drug. So that will also be a stock which will be in focus.
All right. What about brokerages? Are there any new brokerage calls that we have for our viewers, Pankaj?
Right. Anil, let's start with Bharat Forge. So Morgan Stanley has maintained its equal weight. They have cut down their EPS estimates, and that has led to their new target at about 850 rupees. It's a stock which is trading at 923.24. They are expecting EPS cuts for Bharat Forge. However, Street seems to be positive as far as the business, domestic business is concerned. But what Morgan Stanley fears is that the global CV cycle is on a slowdown. And that's why they believe exports, which is a substantial chunk of their EBITDA as well as their sales numbers, has led to EPS downgrade, will continue to do so. They do not expect any major fresh buying to come into this name, which means that EPS re-rating, or the overall re-rating as they call, is slightly on the limited side. Maruti is the next one, and again this is coming in from Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley maintains its overweight on Maruti. Their target price is 5,477. Currently it's 3.5% higher. It's reacting to the numbers, and maybe the price is under revision, the target price. But they continue to be positive. Based on the numbers that they have got, that is till the end of 30th September, they are saying that the Q2 results for the company would be very, very strong. Once the volume picks up, the impact on EBITDA margins, and then on profit becomes very, very high. The street is very much worried about what happens to JPY, but they believe that over the next 2 years, their localization benefits would continue, and that's why they're not much worried about that. It may be very, very near term or very, very volatile just in the next 1 or 2 quarters. They expect a PE of 20 times to continue. This is on the basis of FY18 estimates that they have.
All right, Pankaj. TS, you saw those Maruti numbers, and in pre-open, Maruti is showing a huge movement up. We have about a minute left for the markets to actually open, and we'll see what Maruti shows. What does it indicate to you?
No, I think the story of Maruti continues. They have been able to innovate in that the entry plus mid-level segment so beautifully. You take the example of Ertiga, you take the example of Brezza, you take the example of S-Cross, and then you go into the Ciaz and the sedan models. I think the way they have tweaked the retail models is so fabulous that they have literally dominated, I think, the consumer demand space as far as the entry and the mid-level is concerned. I don't know how much longer the price will move, but definitely the growth, at least on a month-on-month basis, looks set to continue.
All right, just about 30 seconds left as for the markets to open. Some of the counters that are going to be in the news, the heavyweights in the Nifty pack, will be Maruti. You will see Eicher, you will see Bajaj Auto, and as Pankaj mentioned, some of the private banks. ONGC should also feature, and the entire telecom space. The war has opened up, and the war has started, and the first battle is being fought in the 4G space. All right, Pankaj, take it away.
Around any time we should get the first prizes coming in now, and as you said, a lot of sectors would be in focus. That's the opening bell that we can see. ONGC is down about 15 paisa, but no change. Aurobindo Pharma is up 7 rupees. No particular news flow, but that has been on a momentum. Kotak Bank is up 1.6%. Telecom stocks on your screen, no major reaction. So Bharti Airtel is just 4,000 in terms of volumes. Let's look at Idea. That's also just 55,000 shares in terms of volumes. They're very heavily traded names. So, there may not be. One can say the interest is not that much as of now. Maybe the street is waiting for the next few data to come in. Let's look at Maruti. It's up 3.5%. Remember, it's one of the biggest auto stocks now. It's a 5,600 rupee stock. And on the back of that, a 3,000 move, a 50,000 shares in terms of volumes in less than a minute in terms of opening tells you that it's a very, very strong set of response to their numbers. Eicher is up 3%. Numbers were very good. It's Royal Enfield which is driving their numbers. One would say that from 40% base, it has come down to 30, but the expectation was 27, 28. So it's now up 3%, 25,725 for Eicher Motors. 2,000 shares in terms of volumes. Volumes are limited. M&M not reacting much to its numbers, but of course there was not much difference also from what was expected. So maybe that's why it's not particularly reacting to its numbers as of now. In terms of mid caps, let's pull up Jubilant Life Sciences. It's up 9%. We told you about the drug approval that they have got. So it opened around at the 650, 55 mark, and right now it's up close to 10%, almost 10% higher for Jubilant Life. It's a big drug that they have got an approval for. Edelweiss Financial, okay, it's up 10% now. It's locked up in the upper circuit. No, it's not locked up in the upper circuit. It's open. Edelweiss Financial Services is up close to about 6% odd. There is a newspaper report which suggests that there is some restructuring likely to happen over there. It's up close to 5% now. Inox Wind, volumes are low, but the action is high, so it's up about 5.5% odd. Let's also look at some of these logistics companies. So we had this record sales numbers, record numbers that came in for Amazon, Flipkart. So maybe a Gati is in focus. It's up close to about 4%. All Cargo is up about 4.5% odd. Blue Dart Express is not a very frequently traded counter. In fact, only 30,000 shares traded. But some of these logistics companies are also doing particularly well.
All right, it's been 2 minutes. We wait for 2 minutes to pull up the top 50 turnover counters, and then we stack them as to the ones which have got the maximum gains or the maximum losses. And the biggest gainer, as Pankaj pointed out, is Jubilant Life Sciences. It's essentially got that new technology, US FDA approval for ruby-filled rubidium, which is a specific difficult technology, and that's why 7.4% up at the moment. Maruti, among the biggest gainers in the big cap space, probably the biggest gainer when it comes to the Nifty pack, very high on turnover as well. Mirza International is up 3%, Eicher Motors up 2.9%, Adani Ports and SEZ up about 2.7%, Escorts up 2.5%, Syntex Industries, second day of gains. We're going to be speaking to the management today based on the demerger plans that they have got approved by the board. MRF up 2.5%, DLF up 2.1%, CEAT up 2%, JK Tyre, so that entire tyre pack has moved up. MRF, MRF, CEAT, JK Tyre up 2% each. So there are virtually no reds in this pack. The biggest loser currently is United Spirits, down about 2.5%. I think there's been some clarification from the Bihar government. They're going to change the law and they're going to issue a new order. So it's down again. It had gone up sharply when that gone up by almost 7% on Friday when the High Court had set aside the Bihar government's order to ban liquor in the state. But that's changing now. ONGC down 1.5%. Let's pull that one up. As Pankaj was mentioning in the morning, gas prices have been cut, and ONGC is expected to lose revenues of about 4,000 crores at this rate because it is the biggest gas seller. Reliance Industries had gone into the red, but now absolutely flat. Reliance has not been producing the gas it was supposed to produce. Therefore, it will not lose too much at this moment. So this is the broad picture that we are seeing currently. All right. Harihar, I know on telecom your view is pretty clear. You feel that one shouldn't touch it with a barge pole. But what do you make of the breakup of the bids that came in on Saturday?
I think the 53,000 crores seemed to be almost as anticipated. I think the focus seemed to be more on the 2G, 4G kind of a bandwidth. And I think the 700 was one that really did not attract too many players at this point of time. And I think, as usual, the biggest bidders continued to be the big four, that is Idea, Airtel, Vodafone, and of course Jio. So I don't think there are too many surprises. I would be keen to see what is the final number, because I think the government had a fairly steep estimate as far as money to be raised. And I think 53,000 crores to me on day one seems to be probably on target as far as the government revenues are concerned.
All right. Just hold that thought. Imtiaz Qureshi is here with us. Imtiaz, what are your picks?
Very good morning. I had taken today a very different counter, and most of them are from the mid-cap sectors and focusing more on the mid-cap because expecting the market will show a U-turn and the mid-cap participation will definitely continue. First pick would be Shipping Corporation of India, SCI. We have seen a multiple tops getting as a hurdle and multiple bottoms, and we have seen a very good rally. So SCI looks very much promising. Last session was very good for the Shipping Corporation of India. So one can look after for the buying for the target of almost 83 rupees and on the higher side. Second would be from the telecom sectors, Reliance Communications. We had seen some sort of a breakout on the intraday chart, and there was a, you can say, a rounding bottom formation on the intraday chart. And looking at that upside would definitely see somewhere around 58 to 63 rupees. So one can look after for this for the stop loss of 42 rupees. And third would be KCI Industry, where I'm looking that the stock has almost given a breakout day before yesterday, the last two sessions, and there was a consolidation zone. And in the closing of Friday, we have seen a spike coming in the KCI Industry. It looks very much promising. On the upside, expecting 151 as a target.
All right, Ruchit, just wanted your call on the, the people who distribute gas or CNG. Let's take the gas distributors. Do you have anything there technically, anything that you think is worth buying?
Well, amongst the stocks, I think most of them are in the consolidation phase, and I don't think there should be immediate up move based on this juice. So we are not anticipating any up move in these stocks in this sector, probably in very short term.
All right. Telecom, what's your view? We've seen that Imtiaz has taken a positive, is going long on Reliance Communications. Anything else that looks strong there?
Well, within the sector, one needs to be very stock specific. We have seen that Idea in last few months, last 3-4 months have been a significant underperformer. And on the opposite side, Tata Communication has shown significant strength, wherein in spite of this corrective move in the telecom sector, Idea, Bharti are down, but this Tata Communication is trading near its all-time high. So I think such performance would continue. The stocks which are outperforming the broader sector, one of them is Tata Communication, could continue to show some strength further from current levels, whereas those have been recently have been underperformers such as Idea would continue to slide down. So one needs to take very careful decision rather than anticipating any reversals at current levels that the trend would reverse from down to up. I think one should stay with the strength since the Tata Communication had shown some outperformance. It could continue to show some strength. On Bharti Airtel, some sort of consolidation is expected in the range of 330 to 310. I'm not expecting a major up move or down move from current levels. So it would be more of a stock specific action within the telecom sector rather than entire sector going in a particular direction.
All right, the steel space is buzzing today. Let's just pull up some of those counters that are looking very strong. Volumes are a little weak, but you can see that JSPL is up 1.4%, ISMT up 3.6%, Bhushan Steel and Strips up 2.8%, Monet Ispat up 2.5%, Uttam Galva up 1.7%. TS, the core sector numbers came out and steel surprised everyone with that 17% growth. Do you think that was just inventory replacement, inventory building up?
See, I think it was a little bit of inventory replacement, and also, with all these the price limits that the government has been putting on steel imports, there has definitely been some pickup that has been seen as far as steel sales are concerned. I'm not sure how much of that is sustainable, but I think a lot of the core sector growth that we saw was to do with the artificial price restrictions that the government had put on steel. I'm not sure how much longer that will continue, because even the government has already indicated that they don't want this to become a permanent affair as far as steel companies are concerned. But I think we'll probably get a clearer picture once these these artificial restrictions on supply are actually removed by the government of India.
All right, there's some news in MOIL. It has increased its prices. Let's pull up that counter for you. It's increased prices between 20 to 25% on some of the products. It went up sharply. Has sold off a little bit, went up almost 4% at opening, has sold off a little bit, but even now it's still up about 2%. Let me first get a technical view. Is it traded enough, Imtiaz, for you to have a view on MOIL?
Yes, I think so. We had seen a very good opening volume, and right now what we can see is that from there is an upper shadow, but the stocks tend to be in a positive trend. And the way the super trend is getting supported to the stocks, I think so unless the stock doesn't closes below 240, 242 level, the trend will remain positive. But on the higher side, I'm not expecting much more rally, but somewhere around 290, 293 would be the ultimate point where the stocks can get fizzle out. So I think so risk reward ratio remains very much favorable for the stocks at current level, with a stop loss of 242 or 240 on a closing basis can be hold on the stocks for the target of 290 to 293.
All right, the Bajaj Auto numbers are out. Pankaj, take us through them.
So on an expectation was 3.65 lakh units. They've done about 3.75 lakh. So it's 11,000 higher. But it's not like Eicher Motors with just 800 more. So it's much more than what the street was expecting. But it's a good number. And it's a surprise number coming in after decently long time. Domestic sales led the numbers. So it was up 23% in terms of domestic sales numbers, which is 2.3 lakh units. That was a positive number. It was expected to grow 15%. Exports were expected to decline, but the decline is much more. It's about 1.01 lakh unit. But that has been the trend for a while now. So don't really think the street would be surprised with that. Overall, good set of numbers led by the domestic business. This is the first two-wheeler company that is declaring numbers. So Hero, TVS would be in focus. Eicher, of course, is a two-wheeler company, but it's totally on a different tangent. Good set of numbers from the first two-wheeler major, Bajaj Auto.
I'm going to come back to Bajaj Auto as the stock, the markets digest that information. It was expected to drop by about 6%. Sales dropped just 2%. So definitely better than what was expected. Harrier, we were discussing MOIL. You know, this is the second consecutive month in which they've taken price increases. The last month, I think the price increase was between 15 to 20%. There's another 20 to 25%. What impact does it have on the company, and what impact does it have on the companies which are buying their products?
See, globally, if you look at it, manganese prices actually have been on an uptrend. You know, even in the global markets, on the metal exchanges, there has been a positive trend as far as manganese is concerned. And I think I was actually surprised that MOL didn't raise its prices a little earlier. Probably there was a lot of pressure from the buyers. But I think as far as MOL is concerned, what we feel is that two things are actually working in favor of the company. The first is the buyback that has been going on the stock for quite some time, along with NMDC. MOL is another company that has been doing a buyback of shares. The second, I think the price rise, in my view, is going to sustain for a little while longer, because unlike steel, which has a big problem of dumping and lower imports, lower cost imports from China, you don't have that kind of a worry as far as manganese is concerned. And I think therefore manganese prices are likely to be up for some more time, and I think that should positively start impacting the stock price of MOIL from these levels.
Yeah, you can see that normally by now about 5,000 shares are traded. The volumes are usually low, and look at that, 12 times the 10-day average. Okay, let me come back to Bajaj and Eicher. We spoke about Maruti. Bajaj Auto, overall it seems to confirm the trend that consumption is moving faster than expected. Harrier, would you agree?
See, early days, because, if you would really take a call on consumption, we would have to probably wait out one more quarter so that the entire impact of 7CPC, OROP, rural spending, I think all that starts getting digested at retail level. I think it is probably a little early. See, for me, the big worry for Bajaj is only one, and that is exports. Export numbers have probably been slightly better than expectations this month, but I think it could get worse very quickly, because it has got large markets in Latin America, Africa, Eastern Europe. I think these are all markets that are really, really going through a bad economic phase. So for me, the worry for Bajaj would be exports, not so much the domestic market.
All right. Ruchit, Bajaj Auto, is it still... is it still not a buy? Would you only buy it above, let's say, 3,030 odd?
Yeah, and then probably the short-term trend for the stock seems to be in a corrective mode. We have seen some sort of low top, low bottom formation getting formed on intraday charts. And that's why I think this pullback move once could resist till around 3,000, 3,030. So I won't be buyer at current levels. Wait for a breakout above 3,030.
All right. But I don't think, Ruchit, I got your call on Maruti. What would you do with Maruti? Ruchit, if you could hear me, I didn't get your call on Maruti. I wanted to, but I think I moved on to something else. What's your view on Maruti, Ruchit? We appear to have lost Ruchit's audio. Let me go to Imtiaz then. Imtiaz, Maruti?
Yes, I think so. The Maruti looks very much promising at this level, and until unless I'll just highlight to the one support that what I can see yesterday low 5382. I mean to say Friday session low 5382, and until unless this level doesn't break down, the stocks remain very much positive on the higher side. Maybe today we can see 58 or 58.40 getting surpasses, and once the stocks close above 58.40, I think so the fresh rally for the Maruti will start up, and maybe the stocks would tend to go very much closer to 6,000.
All right, your technical call on Ashok Leyland, and then I'm going to get one last view from Harihar on Ashok Leyland.
I think so. Ashok Leyland is almost in a, you can say, with a sideways negative consolidation zone, and we have seen some pullback right now from your last session to the current session. There is a pullback, but pullback is not giving that much of promising that the long can be entered until unless there is a multiple top formation of 86 rupees. If that doesn't call off in this pullback, then it will remain a sell on rally stocks rather than buying on decline stocks. So I think so. Risk reward favorable if at all going forward for the sell somewhere around 83 84, keeping a stop loss of 85 86. So until 86 remains intact, the stocks would be going back to around below 70, at least below 70 would be the possible target for the Ashok Leyland.
Below 70 is the possible target, and with a stop loss of about 83, 86. Harihar, you know, Ashok Leyland MHCV sales disappointed quite a bit, and this has continued for a few months.
Not surprising, because I think that is the segment that has seen a lot of stress. There has been a fall in the total quantum of financing of MHCVs. The so-called capital cycle revival has not happened, and I think all this has impacted the demand of MHCVs. I think the stock, to me, fundamentally doesn't look too bad. It has corrected from about 125 to about 80. So it's lost about 35%. So I think in terms of margin of safety, to me, it looks okay. My only worry is that the stock has lost the momentum. The momentum in the auto space has shifted to stocks like Hero Honda, stocks like Maruti and Eicher, which are actually showing growth on a month-on-month basis. Whereas, Mahindra and Mahindra or a stock like Ashok Leyland are actually showing degrowth on a month-on-month basis. Now, this sector is so sensitive to month-on-month volumes that I think the sentiment and the momentum is going to be against these stocks. So while I do feel that the margin of safety on ALL is good, I would probably stay off buying this stock for the time being.
All right, gentlemen, before I let you go, I need to take your disclosures. Harihar, let me start with you.
Well, of the stocks we discussed, I have a personal exposure in RBL Bank. The remaining stocks we could have probably recommended to our clients as part of our normal routine recommendations.
Let me try my luck with Ruchit, if you can hear me. Ruchit, if you can hear me, can you just give us your disclosures?
Yeah, so the stocks that we have discussed, I don't have any personal position in that, but we have recommended some of them to our clients, so they may have some position.
And Imtiaz? Imtiaz, if you can hear me, what are your disclosures?
The stock which we had discussed today, personally not holding any of the positions, but the same recommendation is given to the set of clients.
Right, thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen, on this Monday morning. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. You are Bhatt of Dalton Capital.